Hello friends, my name is Mel and welcome back to my channel. As you guys know, the transfer series is near and dear to my heart, so I'm very excited to talk about all of my experiences going into grad school. As you guys know from the last two installments, I showed you what my university setup was like in February, as well as kind of took you through my first day of my undergrad, and it is now December and I have both finished my undergrad and I am officially at USC for my master's program. So really quickly, let's recap. My last two semesters was at the University of La Verne, which I'm very excited to get to tell you guys. I loved my experience at La Verne. It really shaped me a lot, including the COVID year. I was able to still have somewhat of a season in the spring, and honestly, I have learned so much from my time at La Verne that I am honestly so grateful for it. I actually recently emailed one of my old professors who was my advisor while I was at La Verne, just kind of catching him up on what life is like, and to be able to have those kinds of connections even a semester, even a year, whatever amount of time after, is so vital. And so just to be able to have that was something I didn't think that I would be able to get, considering the fact that it was, you know, only 2 years while I was at that school. At the end of the day, I graduated with my bachelor's of science in sociology with a minor in English. I graduated magna cum laude, and of course I graduated virtually. There was an option to walk. I chose not to, just because I felt pretty satisfied, and honestly the graduation ceremony wasn't anything special in terms of, it wasn't at school, it was like 2 hours away at some stadium that they had rented out. I don't know why they didn't just do it on campus, but it was 2 hours away. I didn't want to make my parents drive that entire distance just to stand in the sun and to hear my name called for 10 seconds. So instead I decided that we would throw a graduation party at my house with my family and my friends. It was exactly what I wanted and exactly what I needed, and it was just really wholesome and really sweet. So I was pretty happy with how my semester ended and how I graduated, and the fact that I finished my undergrad on time with very minimal loans, mind you, was an accomplishment on its own. Moving into this past summer, it was quite the interesting one because obviously COVID is still a thing, so it's weird to sit there and say that things were okay when I knew that they weren't, but we were able to kind of go out more, we were able to experience life again, and so we did it all very quickly, and honestly it was a lot of fun. I learned to line dance, and I am still line dancing today. I learned how to two-step, and I've taught my boyfriend how to two-step, and he loves it. And then the tragic time of August. August was a whirlwind of a month. At the end of July, I actually ended up getting COVID, even though I was double vaxxed. I got my second vaccine in May, and that's when Delta started going around in June, July. And so at the end of July, I got COVID, and it was quite the intense experience. I still don't know how I got it because I had only been to like the grocery store and just to Target, I think, that week. Like, we hadn't done anything that you would think would get us COVID. So I got it, unfortunately, but followed all the precautions, stayed masked up, stayed at home, got COVID tested multiple times. All in all, it was okay because honestly, I got COVID with my roommate, and it sucked that we both had it, but we really kind of kicked COVID's ass together, and that's what really brought us closer. It was also the weekend or 2 weeks before we were moving, so our apartment had already been pretty empty in terms of like furniture, like major furniture. Like, we just had our beds, all of our like personal furniture, and then we had the TV stand and the TV in the living room. We had already given away the couches and the dining table, so we were really just working with an empty space. So we ended up, my boyfriend brought his barbell, some of his weight, and we would just spend like 2 hours a day working out. Even though we had COVID, we went on a hike, and that was a mistake because we both had like the worst fevers by the end of it. Both of us were extremely weak. We were still trying to like stay active and get moving because really like that was going to be the only way that the two of us were going to be able to kind of mentally and physically be okay with the fact that we had the Ronies. We got over it early August, tested negative. Earlier in the year though, however, I had been accepted to the University of Southern California here in LA, and I was in shock. Not to say that I didn't think that I was going to get in, but it was still such a rewarding rewarding experience. The entire application process was really, really easy. It was just 2 letters of recommendation, putting in my personal statement, obviously, as to why I should be at USC. This year, because of COVID, they didn't require the GED, which is the general exam that you have to take in order to get into grad schools, and I was so relieved because I am a terrible test taker. I did terrible on the SAT, I did terrible on the ACT. I still don't know how I got into certain colleges based on those test scores, but because USC didn't require it for my program, I chose to take that exemption and write it out, and thank God I did, because it was so much easier to get in my opinion, without that stress as a factor. My first day of school was on August 24th, and I had 3 classes. So it was 1 in person and 2 online. My 1 in-person class was on Tuesday night from 6 to like 9:30, 10ish. She never kept us that late, but it was like 6:30 to 9. And then I had my Wednesday online class around the same time and my Thursday online class around the same time. So I was able to work in the mornings, go to the gym, and then sit down and get ready for class. So in terms of my schedule and my system, it worked really well. The only thing that kind of sucked was not being able to like go out for dinners, or if people are like, hey, like we're gonna go grab some beers like at this brewery, I would literally be like, I'm in class, like I can't come. In terms of my social life, you know, school kind of got in the way of that, but that first semester kind of sucked, not because it was difficult, but because it was so boring. I know that intro classes are meant to be that boring, and they're like not exactly the most exciting thing in the entire world, but like really, as somebody with over 3 years of experience in the field already, there were people learning things for the first time, which I found mind-boggling, because you're in a master's program and you're paying a lot of money, okay, to be here every semester, and because you thought, oh, this seems like a good idea, let me go get my master's in PR and advertising. Like, what? Like, what if you decide that you don't like it and you just spent all this money? Like, rant aside, I do think that the first semester was good in terms of like building my foundation at USC, in terms of getting me comfortable on campus. And so I'm very excited that this upcoming semester I have 1 online class and 2 in person. So I'll be online on Monday night and then in person on Thursdays from like 2 to 4, and then again from 6 to 10. A lot of my time is going to be on campus on Thursday. I still have to figure out like when I'm gonna go to the gym, what I'm gonna do there, if I'm gonna work on Thursdays at all, but I am pumped for this next semester. It's going to be much harder on me, and I'm just kind of excited to not be in those classes that I was with and not be with the same students. I'm gonna be with a lot of different people, and like I made a lot of really good friends at USC my first semester, which I wasn't expecting, but I'm really excited to continue that into my 2 in-person classes, because making friends like online is cool when you're in school, but it's a lot more exciting when you're in person. You're able to kind of like rant together on your way to class, and like it revitalizes the experience of going to school, and that's something I didn't realize that I missed so much, especially since my last like 2 years were all online. As for the rest of my life, we had 1 fun trip in May of this past year when we went to Austin, Texas, and it was my first time in Texas and my first time traveling with a big group of friends like that, and it was chaotic and so much fun. I was very, very lucky that I was able to do that. We also ended up in Vegas in November, which is funny because it became kind of like an annual thing. We didn't realize that we had been to Vegas in November of last year. We went for my boyfriend's races. You can see here, he drag races. I'm very proud of him. Real sweetheart. Love that boy. We went to go see him race, and then we ended up staying at the Wynn, the Encore Wynn, and it was a very, very luxurious feeling experience, and it was really cool because I've been to Vegas plenty of times with my family, and we've had great times, very relaxing, but it's cool to experience Vegas in your 20s. Honestly, like we didn't even spend that much money. We didn't even gamble a ton. So it was really cool. It was a fun experience. Like I said, I've been line dancing, and that's something that I'm really enjoying a lot. And honestly, like I am just kind of going through the motions, hoping for the best, seeing my family as much as I can. I think one big thing that this year has taught me is that being able to see your family is such a precious experience, regardless of if you're living on your own like I am now. Unfortunately, this year my family did have a lot of health complications in terms of I had extended family that had COVID, and COVID led to a lot of worse things, and my boyfriend actually has COVID right now, which sucks, but he's fine and I'm fine. I tested negative, so we made sure of that. But with the holidays coming around, being able to see my family this past weekend, it just kind of honed me back in on what's really important. And so I guess what the whole transfer series has really taught me is that regardless of what I'm chasing, regardless of what goals I'm kind of going after, that if it wasn't for my family and their support, all of the experiences that I'm able to have, it wouldn't be worthwhile without them. In closing, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this cozy sit down talk with me, catch you up on life, catch you up on the transfer series, catch you up on this transfer kid. I have really enjoyed my time away, and I will admit that with full confidence, just because sometimes I feel like there's a lot of pressure. I'm happy to kind of be back on my own terms, and I'm happy that a lot of you are accepting it because I have missed being here. If you guys have any questions as to what going into grad school was like, if you want to know more about what my life is like at USC, I will happily tell you. And actually, I think I'm gonna try to like vlog once I'm on campus next semester, just so that you guys can kind of see what it looks like being on campus and what it looks like being a grad student, both online and in person, and kind of navigating through this COVID world. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you next time.